Episode number 221.
Like, for example, instead of like having somebody opt in right away for like a webinar, just give them the webinar for free.
Right.
Just be like, here's the webinar for free. And then now you have the retargeting pixel. Now you can pitch them later. But,
Absolutely.
start with a relationship first.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. After this show, folks, I think you're going to be a little bit more inspired to get your LinkedIn game going because I'm so pumped to bring you our featured guest today, Frank Aziz. Frank, are you ready to be real?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's be real.
My man's bringing the fuego, folks. He's bringing the fuego, and my man is the owner, the CEO of Linked MBA, your premium LinkedIn agency, folks. And as you guys know, LinkedIn is the place where you can get some serious ROI, some serious return on your investment, your time, your energy. Unlike a lot of the platforms in social, this is the one where people are actually there to do business. And so my man does a lot of different things for his customers, stuff from video cinematography to web design to group marketing, and even actually getting into account management. Helping you manage your accounts is also virtual training. And most importantly, too, which is a thing that a lot of people are probably not taking advantage of, is paid advertising. So we'll get into that. But first, like I do all our guests, how's your day going today?
It's going great. Yeah, I love it. Just hustling, man. Every day, working to accomplish my dreams.
Absolutely. So tell me about this Linked MBA. What gave you this idea to start this business?
Sure. Yeah. Well, we have a little bit of a different focus right now, and that's in the venture world. So we're actually doing a venture conference in July.
I saw that.
I think just to provide like a ton of value for the audience, I think what would be extremely valuable to you guys is to tell you how to get in contact with investors via LinkedIn. I'm happy to start anywhere you want, Travis, and let you lead. But what I'll start with is, look, there's a difference between having a brand and doing a sales pitch. There's a big difference. And I think that not a lot of people, really have grasped that idea early in business. So the difference between having a brand and doing a sales pitch is everybody knows when you have a brand, what you do and what you offer and your value proposition right off the bat. You don't have to, convince people. It's merely like more people will take your calls for example, but a lot of people will more likely work with you because you have a strong established brand.
Right.
So, an example I like to use is, the last time, I was really hungry one day and I decided I need to go to a restaurant and feed myself for lunch. Right. And I went into this really, really, really nice restaurant. But I had no idea if I would like the food. So what did I do? I walked in the restaurant. I looked at the menu. I was like, this looks good, but I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy my meal here. So what I did was I got back in my car and I went over to Flame Broiler because I thought it was healthy and I knew the brand. And so that's what branding does. Branding is, a salesless, sale, if that makes sense, where people already understand your value proposition. You already have your reputation established and people want to work with you. Now, that being said, no one that wants to build a strong brand or no entity that wants to build a strong brand should ever ignore the sales process either. So on the one end, you have, sales where you're reaching out. It could be via cold calls. It could be via networking, whatever the case may be. People don't really know you as much. That process itself, at least in the early stages, is extremely important. Okay. So how does this relate to reaching out to investors on LinkedIn? Well, you can use brand and you can use sales. And there's people that, like, for example, Brandon Bornanson, who pitched, I think, 370 investors before he got an investment. And that's an extremely, extremely painful process, but sometimes necessary, right? And so what he was doing, so if you can imagine, pitching investors is like, especially VCs, is like standing in front of, it's akin to being a model and going to modeling agencies, and those modeling agencies telling you why you wouldn't fit the job and exactly why you're too ugly to do it.
Wow.
So it's a really, really painful process. So, on the one end, yes, you want to do that process, but you want to also establish your brand in the background. And so it really depends on the stage you're in right now, that determines whether you should focus more on sales or more on branding. So let me just clarify one more time. So a sales process is, I'm calling somebody cold, I'm reaching out to somebody cold in some way, and I'm trying to convince them or provide value to them in order to get them to purchase my product.
Right.
Brand is reputation at scale. People know what you do. They trust your brand. And there's not much of a sales process. There's not much convincing entailed. Okay. So how do you, as like a new company that wants to get an investment in your company, how do you do both? How do you implement both? And you can stop me anytime, Travis.
I'm fascinated, man. I got some notes here, baby. Let's keep this thing going.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So, if you're trying to get an investor, there's a few tools you can use to go the sales process route that make everything more efficient. Now, you guys can look this up on YouTube. You guys can go anywhere you want to find this information. But one thing that will certainly help you is if you want to do, cold reach out, there's a tool called seamless.ai. And that tool can help you get the direct cell phone lines of people that you're targeting, investors that you're targeting. Now, what's more powerful than anything is if you can you can reach out to people via LinkedIn and then use a multi-pronged approach. So reach out to people via LinkedIn, get their attention, use Seamless to reach out to them once you get their attention. And then one thing you can do is you can incorporate branding with your sales approach. And that's what I feel is the most effective.
Gotcha.
So what does that mean?
Right.
Incorporate branding with your sales approach. Well, one thing you can do is you can ask people for podcasts. I'm sure you know this, Travis. Your Rolodex increases or expands exponentially when you start a podcast.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Oh my God, yes. Yes, folks.
So like if you're trying to reach out to a VC or a family office, by the way, family offices are probably ideal. What you can do is you can use LinkedIn, send a message out, make sure you curate the message so that it's very personal to the person you're sending the message to, because it stands out. Okay. If you kind of like stalk them a little bit, for lack of a better term, and you kind of like see, what their patterns are, what they're interested in, what their activity is on media, you can get an insight into their life, and you can mention something about their life that makes you stand out. So that helps a little bit to stand out. So you initially need people's attention, but what you can do is when you get their attention, I think there's a whole topic on that I can cover. But getting their attention is one thing, but then asking them for a podcast, I would say 90% of people won't give you won't give you time for a 30-second sales pitch, but they'll give you an hour and a full hour for a podcast,
right?
Which is the weirdest thing. But like you interview them, now you have a relationship built, and now you start building your Rolodex.
Absolutely.
All right. So as opposed to like going to these venture firms cold and saying, hey, I want to do a 30-second pitch, and then they just like tear you apart for 30 seconds.
Right.
Why not ask them to do a podcast with you? Reach out to them via LinkedIn and seamless.ai, and build your Rolodex. And that way, if they don't invest in your business, then what they can do is, because you have a relationship, they can refer you.
Right.
Relationship, as opposed to you just pitch them, they told you how ugly you are, and now you never want to speak to each other again.
And folks, Frank brings up a great point. No matter what industry you're in, no matter if you're an investor, you're looking in for investors, or you're just trying to look for more customers, you can do this. You can create your own podcast and bring these people on the show. Like my man said, shit, half these people won't have a second in the moon to respond to your email or even give you a response back on a phone call or whatever, but they're willing to hop on a 30-minute or an hour-long conversation with you. And secondarily, folks, you've heard about masterminds, you've heard about groups and things, ways to connect and build your network and things like that. But this is the best way. I mean, truly, I think this is the best way. I mean, I literally consider my show a mastermind. I learned so much from each of the guests. And sometimes it's stuff I don't even necessarily want to know or need to know in my business, but it really impacts my life in different ways. So
absolutely,
I would say first do that, get the show going, because the big thing too is people aren't going to want to be on your show unless you've already done some shows. So get started today, folks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's like the sales process, and that's really, really effective. I mean, a lot of people are it doesn't consummate the deal, but what it does is it opens a door for you that normally wouldn't be open for other people.
Right.
And so that's the initial sales process. So you can use that sales process to, get in the door with, or get your foot in the door with, people that are, family offices, have money, high net worth individuals that can potentially invest in your business and have a long-term vision. What that also does is it helps you become more selective. So, when you build a strong Rolodex and now you have a network through podcasting, you reach out to people through LinkedIn. A lot of people, my team reaches out to LinkedIn consistently every day. Mm-hmm. And my team gets a hold of way more people in many cases on LinkedIn that would be really, really difficult for them to get a hold of through email or phone.
Right.
And vice versa. You should use every aspect. So you have that aspect. Now we have a whole training program on this, and, I can definitely go into it more. But I also want to cover like the branding aspect of this whole thing.
Absolutely.
So right now, the organic reach on LinkedIn is really, really high. Now, most people listening to this podcast probably haven't even posted one piece of content. And so it's really hard for somebody to conceptualize how valuable posting content is, but it's extremely valuable. It's the difference between, right now we're doing this venture conference and, we're doing all the sales things as well. Like we're doing, I think we did like 30 podcasts last week. It's crazy.
Wow.
So we're doing that. That's a sales process.
Right.
And we're getting a lot of ticket sales just from the podcast. So, I'm living what I'm talking about.
You're living your process.
I'm living the process. And so, but we also have people that I literally, because of my brand, I can text them. They'll send me their credit card information regarding the conference if they're interested.
Wow.
Like that, because of the brand. And so, like on LinkedIn, I've had around 20 million views of my content in the last 2 years.
Wow.
And so, having a brand is developing trust at scale. That's all it is, right? Developing a reputation at scale. So, and what I think what I think about brand is this: it's more powerful than anything you can ever do in your business. There's nothing that beats brand. Nothing.
Right.
It takes a little bit more time, right? And it really depends. There's a lot of context that needs to be added to this conversation. But nothing beats brand. Not referrals. Referrals don't beat brand. Mm-hmm. I can prove that to you right now. Referrals don't beat brand. Cold calls don't beat brand. Nothing beats brand, right? So I'll prove this to you right now. So let's say, like Travis, let me ask you this. What is who's your favorite expert on social media?
Gary V.
Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay,
yep.
Cool. So so let's say one of your friends says to you, hey, Travis, I have this really, really great social media guy. He's like the best. He's the best in the world regarding social media. All right. And I want you to hire him because he's just amazing. Right. Mm. And then let's say, an hour later, 3 hours later, a day later, you get a call from Gary V. Mm. And he's like, hey, Travis, I want to use Sasha Group to manage all of your social media, and we're going to blow your brand up.
Right.
Who are you going to hire?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So brand beats everything. And so if you do not focus on brand, you're going to go out of business, in my opinion. Now, if you have a great sales process, that's also great too. So you can survive on the sales process, but you also need to focus on your brand. And so, what does that mean regarding LinkedIn? And what it means is posting content consistently,
right,
and just putting it out consistently and just being consistent. That's it. And then adjusting based off your audience. So a lot of people, like, what they'll think to themselves is, look, I need to have the perfect content, or I need to, prepare myself in the right way. And that's just a big mistake. When you build a brand and you start posting content consistently, you start building a personal brand, more VCs, and you talk to VCs, or you talk to, on your profile to investors, you resonate with them on your profile. Those VCs will reach out to you. They'll say, I'm interested in learning about your company because I see you everywhere. Right. So like, if you, if you post things that are more personal, that's ideal. A lot of people want to post business stuff. People don't care about what you do.
Right.
They care about who you are first. And then they'll check out your profile, and your profile will do all the selling for you.
Right.
So like, things you can talk about are, things you did for the day, or just be yourself. Right. And, it's like anything else. You go to a party and you don't ask people, hey, how should I phrase this? Or how should I say this? Or how should I tell this story? You just know that what you do is, there's obviously, formalities or whatever the case may be, that depending on the context. But when you step into a room, just be yourself, and the right people will become attracted to you.
So true. And it's so much easier to be yourself too.
It's so much easier.
You don't have to think about what to say. I mean, it's just like, just talk, it's not, whatever's going in your mind is what you need to say.
Exactly. So people, like, they're too overly concerned with other people's thoughts. They're overly concerned with, like, I should say this a certain way, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But you need to put a brand out in some way right now in business. If you're not putting a brand out in business, that's where everything's going right now. And if you're not doing that, you are severely, giving yourself a disadvantage.
Right.
And so you should not in any way, ignore what is happening right now. And so putting out content consistently has really, really changed my perspective and outlook on business. Because if you look at me and my history and how I've trained my sales teams and other sales teams, we're hardcore sales guys, salespeople, hardcore salespeople, cold calls every day,
right?
Knocking on doors, sending out emails, doing whatever we have to do to get sales, right?
Right.
So I'm not knocking that, because you can build an entire company off that. But your company can expand exponentially if you also build a brand.
Yes.
And I think, Travis, that's why you're doing what you're doing.
When you get the call, they're going to be like, I know this guy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's much easier and much better when somebody says, oh yeah, I know you. I've seen all your content. I've seen, your emails, I'm on your text message list, whatever the case may be. Right. They're seeing you consistently, it's really good. And so the value of LinkedIn, I'm not loyal to any platform. I'm loyal to what works.
Right. Absolutely.
And so we're expanding. So we're going to be on all these other platforms as well. We've actually started expanding on podcasting, and that is growing quite well at the moment. And but I'm loyal to what is working. Right. I don't care. Like, I'm a bandwagon person, right?
Yes.
Everybody's like, you need to be loyal to a specific whatever platform. I'm a bandwagon person. If something's working, if there's less money that needs to be spent to build a good following, I'm going to be there. And so that's what LinkedIn is right now. Because, let's face it, not everybody has like a ton of money to spend on paid advertising, or exponentially grow and pay, hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a brand on like TV or as an example.
Absolutely.
People, right now, anyone can build a huge business by posting a ton of content on these free platforms, which is the first time in history that it's available. First time in history. There's never been a time in history where posting free content can help you generate business ever. Right. So if you're not taking advantage of this, then you're definitely missing an opportunity. So if you're a business owner, you need to definitely post content. And this is, excuse me.
Oh, no.
There. So if you're not posting content, you're missing a huge opportunity. And this is coming from a guy that is hardcore sales.
Right. Yeah. You're all about the sales process, the cold call.
I'm a hardcore salesperson. I'm also analytical too, but I'm a hardcore salesperson. And I'm saying build a brand, post content, get likes and comments, and get listeners and build a community, because nothing's going to help you save your business better than building a strong community.
Absolutely. And also, folks, just in case you didn't know, AI is coming. We already talked about an AI. So there's robots and AI and things coming that, if you aren't creative and you don't have any creative ability and you're not able to create a show like a podcast or create content to put out, your job might be eliminated, or your company might be eliminated, And so that's the other thing about this whole thing is learning how to be a creator is so important. And I found that out from our guest, Kai-Fu Lee, who's telling us all about AI superpowers and all about the things that are coming. Yeah. It's insane. So that just leads me into basically like, hey, what my man is saying right here, folks, is the real deal. It is truly the real deal. You still have to keep that sales process and the outreach and the continual outreach, but you need to do it selectively, and you also need to do it strategically, meaning that, like he told you guys, folks, is pay attention to what these people are posting. Understand their sentiment. Send them a personal message, folks. I can't tell you how many times I get on LinkedIn copy and paste messages. I mean, it happens all day long to me. You know what I mean? And so be the person that stands out. Be the person that is a little different. And then that leads me into my next question to you. What about LinkedIn advertising? Are you guys using that? Do you feel that that's another powerful vehicle for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's I think the best way to execute advertising. On every medium, there's a sales process and there's a branding process.
Right.
Okay. So what does a sales process mean when you're advertising? So a sales process would be like you, Travis, starting this podcast and then doing a pitch and then uploading that pitch every day.
Ah, got you.
That's a sales process. You have to convince people. You have to provide an offer, and you have to get them to buy, right? That's a sales process.
Right.
But what you're doing now is you're providing a ton of value, and that's a branding process. So where I think a lot of people get this wrong is what they do with paid advertising is they try to convert people and try to because it's like a cold audience, a complete cold audience.
Right.
They convert people at 1 or 2%, give or take, depending on what their offer is. And I think, in the long term, in the short term, that may, be beneficial because you're putting in $1 and you're getting $2 out. But what's more beneficial overall is building a brand.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
So if you can use paid advertising, it's the same everywhere. It doesn't matter, if it's paid advertising or if it's, my own profile or if I'm on Instagram, you either have a sales process or you have a branding process. And so what I think most people should do, and this is not what everybody, tends to do, is you should build a brand first through paid advertising. Just share a ton of great content, bring them into a funnel where they're getting a ton of great content, right? Don't even try to sell anything, build your brand, and then have a bunch of ads, eventually when you build a community where all you're doing is asking for sales. Gotcha. Or it could be on the retargeting where, where the second message they see is asking them to buy. But building a brand is more important than anything. And I think people forget that and they don't tend to focus on that initially. And I think, overall you get a lot more conversions when you focus on brand first and sales second.
Got you. So that's a great point. Cause I mean, you see it all the time right now, folks. You see You know what I'm seeing on my feed? 75% off this course, 99% off this course, mastermind group, Instagram ad specialist, LinkedIn ad specialist, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And they want me to sell me something instantly. And personally, folks, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, because I don't need to. I don't freaking need to. I know how to do these things. And if I don't know how to do them, I'm going to learn how to do them. And I never have anything against these groups, but I think that it's so true. Unless you are trying to sell something maybe to some limited time event or something like that, where you need to get sales going and you need to make it happen, quick because you need to get sales. I think you're right. I mean, I think it's more about branding yourself in the feed to these people that have no idea who the hell you are. Maybe giving them a tidbit of value. Maybe just, part of your ad is just giving them a tip or something, or you know what I mean? And just telling your story, or just.
Yeah. Or it could be really like when you're doing ads, all you're doing is really just sharing your opinions. That's really what you're doing on ads.
Gotcha.
And then when you share your opinions, you get them to, a place where they can absorb a bunch of value. So like, for example, instead of like having somebody opt in right away, for like a webinar, just give them the webinar for free.
Right.
Just be like, here's the webinar for free. And then you have the retargeting pixel. Now you can pitch them later, but
absolutely.
Start with a relationship first. Right.
Great point.
And, you can always retarget them later. You always have their retargeting, the retargeting IP, with your retargeting pixel. So you can always, get them to purchase later. But right now, start a relationship by saying hi and starting a conversation.
Oh my God, it's so true.
That's what building value is. That's what building value does.
So think about that today, folks. When you're thinking about your ads, learn about just saying hi and building that friendship, building that camaraderie, giving value, telling your story, stuff that has nothing to do with opting in, click here, buy now, sign up, etc. Because I think, like you said, it's those things. Shit, I don't even know you. I'm going to start joining your funnel and pay you $100 a month. I don't even know who you are, And so,
yeah, I saw this guy who was selling how to sell masterminds for like $30,000.
Fucking nuts, dude.
Paid ads. And it was sending you directly to the payment page.
Yeah. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Are you going to seriously try to charge me $30,000 on Instagram? Like, without having any brand. Now, Gary Vee tries to sell a course, which he never will. I'm pretty sure he keeps his model pretty tight on that, but that guy's giving away value all day long, folks. Business ideas, strategies, shit. He's telling you right now, LinkedIn is the platform as far as the organic reach goes. I mean, this guy is the one that maximizes the like you. He's not loyal to any platform. He's just whatever's working is where he's going to be at, And so the point is, folks, I think you just shared some really good insights about your ads, because most of us, even my customers, I would say, want us to drive sales, traffic, landing pages, etc. And I think that's a good pushback, is to kind of say, hey, we need to first build your brand here before you start hitting people over the head. And if you want to do anything, folks, you can do it with your retargeting. Do it with after they've already seen your ads, after they've already seen your page, then you can retarget these people maybe with an offer or something. So, but I love this. This is fascinating, my man. So tell us a little bit more about quickly into the venture conference you're having here.
Yeah. So we have a venture conference, and, a lot of things that I'm talking about right now, we're going to have speakers on, podcasting, YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Have millions of followers on these platforms. We're going to have guys who have sales backgrounds that have gotten them to $1 billion in sales for.
Wow.
So that's one aspect. So there's an educational focus of the conference. So all the stuff I'm sharing here right now, you're going to get a ton more, at the conference. Like, you're going to get all the gold nuggets at the conference, and that's a bonus. But on top of that, we're putting 300 investors in the room with around 200 emerging companies.
Got you.
So if you want an amazing networking opportunity that's going to get you in touch with people that can help scale your business, as well as gain the educational insights to help scale your business, go to CapCon, CAPCON event.com. Again, it's CAPCON as in Nancy, event.com. And just put in the promo code BeReal.
BeReal.
And you'll get a huge discount, temporarily. And you'll be able to attend the conference, and we'd love to see you there. So just to give you an idea, people at the conference are going to be David Meltzer, who was the CEO of Lee Steinberg and is the motivation behind Jerry Maguire.
Absolutely.
Jerry Maguire. And then you have, people have gotten to millions of followers on social media, on TikTok, YouTube, podcasting, learn a ton of information and be able to network with investors that can help scale your company.
That's awesome, man. What made you give you this idea? What gave you the epiphany to start a conference?
That's great. Great question. So conferences are if you're using a sales process, anytime you use a sales process, combine it with a branding process. So having a conference is a branding process. That's not a sales process.
Got you.
But getting people to the conference is a sales process.
Yes.
The event is a branding process itself. So what that does, again, if you combine sales with branding, you're going to grow much faster if you do things like that.
Yes.
And so that's why we're bringing people to this conference. I've done 3 conferences before. We had 250 plus people there.
Oh yeah, nice.
And so I had an attorney that was sitting in at my conference at one point, and he's like, you need to do a venture conference where you connect investors with emerging companies. And so that's where we are now. He's my partner, and that's what we're doing. We're doing a venture conference, and we're gonna provide so much value to all the attendees. It's going to be ridiculous. It's a 3-day event. So if you'd like to come, I'd love to meet you in person.
Absolutely. And I love what you did, because I always say the best ideas happen when you're just listening to those around you, and you were just listening to the attorney, and he said, hey, why not step into venture? And you said, hey, why not? Let's do this. I got the juice. I got the sales process going. I'm going to figure out the branding. Let's make this happen.
Yeah. And I feel like if you have the sales process and the branding process dialed in, then you can take your company in any direction you want. Because the fundamentals, how to adjust and how to market to a certain segment of your audience. And so that's why I'm so grateful that I have, these skills. These are all things I'm doing consistently. These aren't things and I'm training my team to do.
Right.
Like my entire sales staff is doing this exact same process that I've talked about on this podcast. So, you need to reach out to people on LinkedIn. There's a lot of other things, a lot of other cool tools you can use on LinkedIn, like Octopus CRM that automates some of your messages, but be personal too. You have to be personal. You have to be personal. You can't be like spammy. And so use LinkedIn, use every method you possibly can, and go where organic reach is very low priced.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, folks. My man's dropping the nuggets today, folks. I love it. But my man, we're about to take you now into our top 10. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube.
Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Chicken or steak?
Chicken.
Laptop or smartphone?
Smartphone.
Spotify or Pandora?
Spotify, for sure.
Movies or video games?
Movies.
Reading books or listening to books?
Reading.
Stocks or real estate?
Real estate.
Oceans or lakes? When you're thinking about a vacation, you're looking at, where am I to go?
Let's do ocean. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you're close to the ocean, too, down there in the beautiful Orange County.
Yeah, I love it.
When you're waking up in the morning, my man Frank, you're looking yourself in the mirror and you're brushing your teeth, you're getting yourself ready. Why do you love being you?
Oh, I love that. I like that. I'm an overall nice person.
Ooh, that's good. We need more nice people out there, man.
Yeah. I think I'm just an overall nice person. I treat people well. I treat employees well. I just try to, make an impact on this world. And I'd love for people to mention about me that I was just a great person and that, somebody that was great to know.
Right. We only have so much time on this earth, folks. Why not be nice? Why not be kind? Why not be gentle? Why not be loving? It's not bad. Not a bad thought, right?
Yep.
Do you think you'll ever retire?
I don't think I will. No. And the reason for that is I just love what I do. I love business. There's definitely been challenges throughout the journey.
Sure.
And anybody who says that it's not challenging is lying to you.
Right.
And so, but I just love business, and I love just making things work for my staff and everybody that I'm supporting. So
absolutely. And how do you have a routine? How do you typically start your day?
It's funny. It's every day is a little different. I am implementing more routines, but I usually have a podcast early in the morning.
Okay.
That's my routine lately.
Nice.
And I usually talk to some of my team like around 9:00. We have a team meeting every night at 6 p.m. through Zoom.
Wow. Okay.
Or in person, depending on, what meeting it is.
Sure.
And then I try to work out. I try to make calls every day. I try to have routines in my schedule. Routines are extremely important.
Right. And just keep getting back to them. When you get off your routine, folks, just get right back on the wheel. That's the biggest thing about routine, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I actually did a podcast with a guy who was a physician, and he said that like routines can change your life. Routines can change your business. They can change everything. And they just make you more relaxed, more calm throughout business. And it just helps you sustain what you're trying to do.
Right. It's like knowing what to, predicting, and you almost already know what's going to happen when you have the routine set.
Absolutely.
And so you can kind of react. You're not caught off guard. And hey, everyone's going to have a moment where they were caught off guard and we're just like, oh shit, I don't know what to deal with this. But for the most part, if you've been on podcasts, if you've been a host, if you've been whatever, for instance, on a podcast, you know the routine. There's things that happen. Sometimes the internet connection goes down. Sometimes the guest is late, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes the guest doesn't feel the vibe that you have, even though, like for me, I like to try to put out that vibe, that energy. But the point is, folks, you just keep rolling with the punches. The routine doesn't stop. You still keep interviewing people. You don't stop, right? So that's the most important thing to remember with anything you do. And like everything you talked about today is you got to just wake up the next day and keep doing it. You don't just stop because no one reached out to you that day. Or reach back out to you.
And you sometimes I think most successful people know how to snap out of their funk.
Yes.
Because the funks happen a lot in business. They happen a lot.
Absolutely.
And so, what differentiates people that win and people that fail are people that can snap back really, really quick. And you may not even realize that you're not snapping back. You're not getting up and standing up again after you've fallen down. You may realize that you may not realize that you're doing that you're just like staying down, because it manifests in multiple ways, right? It manifests in like you walking slowly to your desk, or you having negative thoughts, or when you fall down, you hurting your relationships, or whatever the case may be. And what you need to do is you need to acknowledge that you've fallen down and you need to step back up, right? And you need to do that consistently and in the fastest way possible, because people rely on you.
I love that. And tell us a little bit about your podcast, the Business Leaders Podcast.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's funny because that is trademarked, Business Leaders. So I'm actually changing it to the Frank Aziz Experience.
Oh, okay. Frank Aziz Experience. Okay.
Yeah. So I interview, successful entrepreneurs that have reached a level that all of us really want to attain. So I'm providing as much value as possible. And, I could even interview a successful entrepreneur or a not as successful entrepreneur, but they have a lot of insight into one aspect of business or aspect of life in general that I want to interview them on. And really it's just about interest, right? So I want to be interviewing, scientists. I also want to be interviewing people that have reached a certain level in business, as well as anybody that can help you become a better person.
I love that. Has it been a labor of love for you too? Just like something you love to do, enjoy the passion?
It's been a labor of love for sure. It's definitely taking time to, grow and expand.
Right.
But I've seen some pretty good numbers, for somebody that's just started.
Heck yeah.
Podcasting. So I think I have it's really great for like podcasting. I feel is like the networking channel.
Right.
It's so valuable to network like this, because I can get interviews with a lot of people that I normally wouldn't be able to talk to.
Oh yeah. That's folks why I started my show. No one wants to come to Fresno, California. 5 years ago, I looked at myself in the mirror and said, you know what? I'm going to try to interview some of my heroes. I was inspired by Entrepreneur on Fire, John Lee Dumas. I was like, dude, you know what? I'm going to freaking interview some of my heroes. And I just started the show, and I just bought a crappy mic. I'm still using the same Rode mic. I mean, it's not crappy. It was maybe $100, folks. Anyone can afford this mic. And maybe I could even get a better mic, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The show sounds great. And so the whole point is, folks, you don't break the wheel when it's already working, right? And so the point in the whole process, folks, is it's not always easy. And the podcast isn't always easy. Some days I'm like, oh shit, I got to do a show. All right, let's get the game face on. You know, I got a bunch of other shit I got going on as an entrepreneur, and I'm going to do this. I'm not necessarily getting paid for this, but every time I have a good energy and good vibe after the show, and I'll always learn a lot. I have, like with your show right now, I'm have a page full of notes and just things, little notes I'm taking up and little tidbits I'm thinking about. So it's an education for yourself too, folks. Don't ever forget that. It's your mastermind. You're creating your own network. I think I love what you said. It is a networking. It's definitely a networking platform. And now my question to you, my man, is if you could sit down with anyone for a chicken dinner in the world, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it'd be Gary Vee, man.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, I love Gary Vee.
He'd be giving you balls out. He'd be telling you everything. He'd say, hey, let's do this. Step your game up here. Do this. But no, I love the thing about Gary Vee, folks, is that I love that he stayed true to his model where he's just giving you good insights along the way. And yeah, you might buy a book or you might buy something, but he's not trying to sell you into anything. He's all about that branding play. When you first see him, he's sharing his value. Everything you see about him is sharing value. It's not, hey, go sign up for our email newsletter. Yeah, sometimes he does now hit you over the head with the text message group or something. You know what I mean? But the point is, for the most part, it's what my man's talked about the whole time here. It's everything he's doing is branding first. It's literally he's become the expert. I mean, if you look at the industry, he's freaking the expert in social. So it's fascinating when you really think about it, because there's other people in different things and talking different ways and this and that, and maybe they're even spending more on ads or whatever. But the point is that he's built a huge business and he's giving you all the sauce. I mean, he's giving you the sauce. Go to his Instagram, go to his YouTube, listen to his stuff. He's giving you the strategies. And then it's just up to you to actually do it, because that's the hard part, is what you do with that strategy. What you do with his content is some of the shit he says is hard to do. Like go comment on 98 people's content on LinkedIn every day. Like that's hard to do. You know what I mean? But it works. So you have to it's the trade-off, Has there been a book that has changed your life? Has there been something that you reread or something that has stuck out in your head?
I like Good to Great. That's a great book for me.
Oh yeah.
I like business books a lot. So 48 Laws of Power is a book I like a lot by Robert Greene.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't like the principles so much, but I just like the details of what it takes to have power in this world. It's just kind of interesting. It's just interesting. It's not something like I want to, implement. It's just something that it just is very interesting to me. And then, I'm a faithful person. So Case for Faith is a great one. Great
Case
book.
for Faith. Okay, that's a good one. I've never heard of that one. Case for Faith.
Yeah, I think it's Lee Strobel. Lee Strobel, that was a really great book for me. But other than that, those are some books that I love to read.
I love that, man. Can you give our listeners one last real talk thought?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say just keep pursuing your passion. Don't give up. Never give up. There's going to be many moments where you want to give up, but just keep pushing forward, because you can do a lot of great things if you don't give up.
And where is usually the best place for people to find you on social or find you online?
Yeah, they can find me on my website at linkednba.com. They can find me on LinkedIn, Frank Aziz. And then they can also, if they want to sign up to the event, go to capconevent.com. Again, Capcon, CAPCON as in Nancy, event.com. And then just put in the promo Be Real.
Put in that Be Real, folks. Get yourself a discount. I love what you're doing, man. I think it is amazing. I see your presence and everything growing for you, continually growing, your podcast, everything you do, because you're putting in the effort every day. You got the mindset. And my man is just, number one, I think the industry you're reaching out to in that venture with combining with businesses is just it's a gold mine. I mean, there's just so many people looking for funding and vice versa, people looking to invest. And so I think that's just a perfect way of combining the two audiences together. But hey, I want to thank you so much, for, like I said, your time today, my man. Folks, you've been hanging out with Frank Aziz and Travis Too Tall and Huff. We want to thank you again for your time today, and let's keep being real. We're all going through a lot right now, and real time Outsource. My business is giving back to local and small businesses. Through our social media services and campaigns, we are actually helping small businesses get more exposure during these times and also when we get through these times. At the end of the day, we don't know how long this is all going to last, but most importantly, you got to think about your business right now and take it seriously. So come check us out at realtimeoutsource.com, and we would love for you to qualify and get the process started where we can take a look at your business and see if we can qualify you for some of our services at little to no cost for most of the businesses. And some businesses, you're going to have to pay, but that's just part of life, right? But most importantly is that I think this is the time, folks, that you can actually help thrive in your business. And so I would love to help you personally with our team. We're all going through a tough time right now. So take advantage of this. realtimeoutsource.com. Check us out. And we would love to do some business with you and help you with your social and digital media in 2020 and beyond. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today.